Hello, I hope that everyone is doing well today. My name is Rowe, and I'm here to give you a historical perspective on assessments. In the early stages of corrections, up until the late 1980s, assessment of offender risk was largely an informal process. In 1985, corrections agencies in Canada began to foray into assessing risk to reoffend with their clients. In the early stages, assessments were completed primarily by mental health professionals and were based solely on their clinical judgment. These assessments were generally not very accurate. In 1988, Correctional Service of Canada implemented the Statistical Information on Recidivism scale, which was the very first actuarial tool. In 1990, Canada's National Parole Board implemented the Offender Intake Assessment process, the Statistical Information on Recidivism scale, and the Community Risk Needs scale. In 1993, research published in the Forum on Corrections Research clearly documented the superiority of actuarial risk assessments. And in 1999, the Washington State Legislature passed the Offender Accountability Act, which established reduction of the risk of reoffending by prisoners in the community as a sentencing goal. In 1999 also, the Department of Corrections began using a risk for reoffense tool, the Level of Service Inventory Revised, LSIR, as part of the Offender Risk Classification System. In 2003, a report was published by WISP that stated that while many studies have found the system working well on Canadian populations, studies in Washington and Pennsylvania show that many factors used in the LSIR scale are not predictive of reoffending behavior in those jurisdictions. In 2004, the Washington State Legislature asked WISP if they could create a tool more predictive and accurate than the LSIR. In August of 2008, the Washington State Department of Corrections implemented the current risk assessment tool, the Static Risk Assessment, or SRA. In May of 2013, the Static Risk Assessment was revised. In October of 2013, a team was brought together to implement the improved assessment and case planning tool in Washington State. A research professor at Washington State University, Dr. Zachary K. Hamilton, reviewed more than 44,000 Department of Corrections case files and found that the WISP SRA is very good at predicting risk to reoffend, but the validity of the prediction could be improved with the inclusion of dynamic risk factors and taking into account gender-specific differences. The Department of Corrections has undertaken the process of incorporating this research into an enhanced offender assessment tool, the Strong R.